Am I the a-hole for naming my adoptive parents as my parents instead of my bio parents in an article about me? This is kind of emotional for me, so please be nice even if I suck here. I'm 26 female, I'm all set to finish my PhD this year. Some of my published work has recently gotten press coverage in certain circles, and an article was even written about it in my hometown newspaper. In an interview, I was asked about my family, and I provided a picture of me with the people I consider my real parents, even though they've never legally been my parents. That's what prompted a controversy. My bio family is extremely religious, and they kicked me out because they thought I was gay. Not true, just a late bloomer. And an apostate. True, when I was 17. My grandparents let me stay for long enough to finish school, but it was rough. I was able to scrape by and cobble together enough scholarships for college out of state. But I had a breakdown early in my freshman year because I was so stressed out. In a big city for the first time, and I had literally nobody. There was a tiny restaurant off campus that was cheap and quiet, but I used to go there sometimes just to get away. And because the immigrant couple who ran it were always nice to me. After the lady asked if I was okay one day, I broke in tears, and they kind of just adopted me. They talked me through my breakdown and had me over for dinner and on holidays, and treated me just like one of their kids. I helped them with some things around the restaurant while I was in school. Their daughters were older than me but were friends, and I'm an auntie to their kids now. These people had no reason to take me in. We're not even the same race. But they did, and I introduced them as my parents now, and they call me their daughter. Once I'm established in my career, I plan to chip in to help them retire. I've kept some contact with my bio family, and the relationship has improved with time as my parents have mellowed out, and several of my younger siblings and other family have left their religion or become much less involved. But I can't forget being abandoned. They've been wanting me to come visit for a while, but I haven't. And when they saw the picture of me with my adoptive parents in an article, they freaked out. Their argument is that they raised me and they already apologized for kicking me out. So this is very hurtful. I think I wouldn't be doing my work without my adoptive parents' intervention, but they aren't my legal parents either. A lot of my bio family and friends are split on the issue. Some say I should have thrown my bio parents a bone since reconciliation is happening slowly. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Blood is not thicker than water. I hope you should tell them that she was born again, since she would have died without these people. Okay, make it a career / spiritual / emotional death without them. So they are your career / spiritual / emotional parents. I mean, if your parents are reconciling slowly and you want that, then fine. Just tell them you wouldn't be here today without the adoptive family. And since the article was about your work, that your support family was the family that enabled you to do that work. I sometimes find that calmly and emotionally repeating a phrase wins an argument. I wouldn't be here today without them. They are my parents in that respect. And just repeat that line if your bio parents argue. Also tell them, I heard your apology, but I've not received support of any kind, emotional, financial, or life advice from you. Until that break is healed, I was simply the abandoned kid that found a new family. Not stay home. Forget bio for a second. Couple A kicked you out at a vulnerable age for no reason. Couple B scooped you up and showed you unconditional love. You were not wrong either way, but it's clear why you chose the way you did. Congratulations on your hard-earned education. Congrats on finding a true family. I think it's really sad that parents so easily discount serious emotional pain. They don't realize that the damage done may never be healed. They need to accept what they did and live with the consequences. Not stay home. I don't think it is irrational they got hurt, but they are in no position to demand any recognition. You survived and thrived despite they were your parents, not because of it. You could have been mistreated, dead, or in an institute. Check your language. They mellow down. Really? Don't you ever think that by wanting to reconcile or making a step towards it, you owe them anything. And now they're trying to guilt you. They should be begging you to acknowledge their mere existence. Next story. Am I the a-hole for blackmailing my mother and airing out her finances to the family? For quick backstory, my mother is a textbook narcissist, and her whole family has always tiptoed around her feelings since she had a kid at 15 and had to give it up for adoption, as my grandparents refused to quit their jobs to care for a baby. Her parents have literally bought her houses and gift her 20 to 50,000 a year. I, 25 female, and my fiancé, 27 male, just got our first home together. The down payment was 12,000, and my mom offered 3,000 towards it to help us out. I did not ask. She offered, and we would have waited a few more months, no problem. Anyway, this year my grandfather passed and she got well over 80,000 handed to her, so it's not like she needed that 3,000. Long story short, one of our appliances was on the fritz, and I told mom I didn't have time to talk because I was working on our appliance. Within an hour, my cousin calls me from my nan's house to say mom and nan are on the phone, and nan is saying things like, "Who cares if it's broken? Let her buy a new one. You just bought her a house. You better not give her a dime." Which, 1, it's fixed, it works fine. 2, I didn't ask for a dime. 3, I never said it was broken or had to be replaced. And 4, she did not buy us a house. This absolutely set me off. I sent my cousin our closing documents and it shows gifted amount from blank. I also sent screenshots of my conversations with my mom talking about this cousin was recently visiting. Mom saying things like, she can't have an eating disorder when all she did was eat when she was here. I was basically saying don't believe her because all she does is talk crap. Look at what she has to say about you as soon as you leave, after acting fake AF all week. I found out mom has been telling her whole side of the family she purchased our home for us and has been sending us money for bills because we are so bad with money. I was pissed by this as well. I suspect this stems from her jealousy as I started working at her old job, surpassed her position, and not only do I make more money than her, they are paying for my BA to promote me further. After some super sleuthing on my end, I found out mom got 20,000 from Nan the same month we bought our house because she needed help since she bought a house for her daughter, when in reality she spent it all on drugs and fancy dinners with men who don't value her. After I sent all my supporting documents and screenshots to the family with her bragging about a pound of weed getting shipped to her house and everything else she wastes money on, I'm now being berated and being told I am the source of all the drama that I should kept my mouth shut. That this is essentially blackmail and I'm trying to destroy our family. I told my mom's twin this has been brewing for years, and her family didn't do my mom any favors by letting her get away with everything since her teen pregnancy. And it's unfair to saddle me with the responsibility now. It's been over a month with little contact from my mother, and her twin still pestering me to apologize and include her in my wedding planning. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. What a disaster. Don't apologize. You had enough and told the truth of it all. I'd stay in no contact with them if I were you. Who wants that kind of grief in their life? Not me, and neither should you, OP. SMH. They clearly don't know what blackmail is. OP isn't requiring someone to give them something or they will do something. Not the a-hole regardless. I will go with not the a-hole. Mostly because you wouldn't be airing screenshots if your mother hasn't been lying about stuff in the first place. In a way, she was defaming your character and you proved it wrong. Your family's the reason for all of this, since instead of getting therapy for your mother, they kept paying her up. Your mother's twin is mad because you broke the status quo of letting Opie's mom have her way, stood your ground and proved her wrong. You should consider if you want to keep a relationship with these people and set some boundaries. I would also give back the 3,000 to your mom and send a transaction copy to everyone before she can lie about that too. It's easy to call it just drama when we aren't in the receiving end of countless abuse and broken boundaries. Not the a-hole, as I'm guessing you have had years of her gaslighting your family and knew you needed to back up your story with evidence. You're the family scapegoat. The twin is nuts too. She just doesn't want to have to deal with your mom anymore and is looking to dump her on you. She sounds like she hasn't emotionally matured past 15, as no one has allowed her. It is too late now. Free advice, just sit back and feel how much less stress you are under now that she is gone. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for giving my sister brutal honesty? My sister is morbidly obese, technically speaking. She's 100 pounds overweight. For a while, my folks have been concerned. When they've brought up concerns to me, I've shared my concerns, as has her doctor. I think out of fear of potentially losing her/her cutting off communication with them, my parents have said nothing to her. For the longest time, I said nothing, I figured it was a no-win situation for me, and just that my siblings' weight didn't seem to be something I needed to throw my hat in the ring on. Right now, she's unemployed, and my parents are footing the bill for her everything. Rent, food, entertainment, everything she does right now is paid for by them. Because they were redoing the floors and because of an asbestos problem that the apartment building management found, she just spent 10 days with me. I work from home, so we were around each other the full 10 days and I got to see how she lives. This girl casually ran up a $90 bill just in snacks alone. Her day is 3 meals, snacks, TV, and YouTube. On her last nights here, I decided to take her out to dinner. Problems arose when she literally tore the pants button off trying to get it to fasten. I don't know if she meant it rhetorically or what, but she asked, "Why is this happening?" I told her that it's because she has a poor diet and lives an unhealthy lifestyle. I warned her that if she kept it up, there were going to be many more clothes malfunctions down the road. I told her I was scared for her future. She believes I'm the a-hole for giving that answer and has labeled it as body shaming. I don't label it as such because I never mentioned her body and I never called her fat. I kept it about her lifestyle and her diet. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not a-hole. Body shaming is totally different, and people need to stop using body positivity as an excuse to be unhealthy. I do agree so much here. I was even accused of body shaming by giving tips to get fit to someone who was posting about being overweight since the lockdown. I just don't get it. Did a person ask for tips? If they did, then absolutely. If the person was just complaining and you offered and asked for advice, then yeah, that's an a-hole move. Sometimes people just want to shout into the void about something and be heard. It may or may not be part of their process of coming to terms with the situation. They weren't asking for help. They're just processing their emotions out loud, so to speak. If they keep complaining and don't ever take action, well, sucks for them. They lose the right to complain. If they complain for a bit and then eventually take steps to fix the issue, then it's just their process of figuring things out. Not stay home. We have a major problem right now in figuring out the line between body shaming and your lifestyle is killing you. Maybe you could ask her if there is anything you can do to help her change her lifestyle. That's a line that I guess I didn't toe very well. I ditto the suggestion of asking her if there are things you can do to help. I've been unhappy with my weight for a while, but only recently did I really get myself off my butt to do something about it. And it would be a lot easier with a buddy. Cooking healthy meals for one/by myself is boring. Same with going to the gym. If your sister is interested in changing something, whether it's food or exercise, offer to be on board with her. And I'm not suggesting a diet. I'm suggesting more a focus on healthier eating in general. Not stay home. Pants rip because they don't fit anymore. Only someone in denial will ask, why is this happening in this situation? She asked, you answered. I thought you answered quite kindly and in a manner that spoke of concern, not fat shaming. Hopefully she thinks about it. Exactly. The cold answer would have been, you got too big for those pants. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband passed out on our lawn? My female 30 and my husband male 32 have a toddler together. Our property has no fence. I was inside, my husband was sitting on the porch watching our son, and our son was playing on the lawn. All of a sudden, I heard my kid wailing and rushed outside. He had fallen and scraped his knee. I saw my husband head over before me, which makes sense because he was closer than I was, but when he squatted down to help, he fainted. The exact timing isn't clear. I don't know if he squatted and then fainted or fainted mid-squat. I just know he was passed out on the grass by the time I got there. My husband is squeamish. He doesn't like gore and blood makes him uncomfortable. I knew this when we dated, and I knew it when we married. He's fainted before. We dated in college and he faints at vomit as well. It usually comes through shortly after. We've been together 10 years, and I've seen him faint maybe 3 times, including this instance. Anyway, he passed out on the grass and my son was still screaming, so I picked him up and carried him inside. When I was dressing his wound, my husband came in a couple minutes later angry that I left him unconscious and unattended in our lawn. We don't live in a dangerous neighborhood. We're friends with our neighbors. He was dressed for the weather because he was sitting on the porch outside anyway. And we live in an area where the climate doesn't fluctuate too much. So I didn't feel there was a risk of hypothermia/heat stroke. It was maybe 70 degrees and clear, which is why we let our son play outside. It only takes a couple minutes to dress my son's wound and kiss it better, so I would have checked on my husband shortly after. But my husband says I should never leave someone unconscious and unattended. I agree with this point generally, but if there is only 2 of us present and our son is hurt, I don't see what the big deal is. He thinks I should have left our son with him while I go inside to get the bandages and dress his wound on the lawn. Or take my son inside, get the bandages, and bring him back out to dress his wound on the lawn. I guess the last idea makes sense, but as a mom with a crying child, I didn't think about it that deeply. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole times 10. You never leave an unconscious person alone. I'm amazed by the number of Redditors who think fainting is no big deal, and who seriously suggest things like grab them a glass of water, get them some ice, make sure they're comfortable, then check on them in a couple minutes. I am kind of mixed on this. If my husband fainted at the sight of blood to the point a cut did him in, I would remove the kid first before trying to wake him up. Otherwise, he will just faint again, and I will still have a screaming toddler and a fainted husband. I really feel like Opie is in a no-win situation here. I'm surprised that so many of the comments seem to be glossing right over this. To me, it seems obvious that Opie's thought process was, remove bleeding child to avoid causing further issues, then check on husband. Do I think that she should have checked on him first? Yes. Do I think that she's an a-hole for it? No. I feel like this is a no a-hole here. I get why he's upset, but I get Opie's thought process. And I'm surprised there aren't more people at least somewhat addressing her mention that he has issues with gore. I'll probably get downvoted, but you're the a-hole. I don't think you should leave someone unconscious unattended even if it's just for a couple of minutes. That's long enough for the tongue to block their airways, and any more than 1 minute of being out is dangerous, and it could have been a heart attack or something more serious. You should have revived him first. A scraped knee isn't as risky a situation. You're the a-hole. Your triage skills suck. Unconscious human left unattended versus kid with skinned knee? And you prioritize the skinned knee? WTF? Plus, the whole post reads like the husband was outside with a baby. The child is 4, old enough to hang on a minute while you make sure daddy isn't dead. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to share my inheritance with my bonus daughter? I, 42 female, am married to an amazing man, 43 male. For some context, which I feel is important to know, my husband and I have been together for 12 years. I have children from a previous relationship, and he has 1 child from a prior relationship as well. He is an amazing father and has always been a present father to all the kids. He has always made sure the kids had everything they needed and was present at all activities, even though his daughter lives 6 states away. My husband was only able to spend time with his daughter every other summer vacation and every other Christmas, even though he has 50-50 custody. Bonus daughter, and I use that term endearingly, it is in no way, shape, or form negative, would receive the most expensive gifts for Christmas, birthdays, report card grades, and other related holidays due to our culture. I love my bonus daughter as if she were my own, and I have never treated her any differently. When she was with us, everything I did with my daughter, I did with her. Mani-pedis, hair, makeup, shopping sprees. She was treated equally. My husband calls her every day to see how she's doing and whether she needs anything. He also sends additional money, aside from child support, weekly because she wants to buy things like Roblox or Minecraft. Last year, I was in a car accident in which I almost lost my life. I was unable to work for quite some time, so everything fell solely on my husband. With that being said, we struggled financially for a bit, and the additional weekly money being sent to my bonus daughter had to stop temporarily. My bonus daughter is now 18 and graduated this year, but my husband was not invited to her graduation because he stopped giving her the weekly additional money and wasn't able to give her $500 for her prom dress. Now, bonus daughter doesn't answer my husband's calls or try to contact him. Recently, I inherited some money, and of course, I plan to share a large sum with my children. Word of my inheritance reached my bonus daughter's mother, and she contacted my husband, asking about the amount my bonus daughter would be receiving. My husband, confused, asked her what she was talking about, since the money didn't belong to him. It was an inheritance that I received. She started listing things my bonus daughter would need, including a new car since she will be starting college this fall. He continued to tell her that the inheritance didn't belong to him. It was mine. She began to argue, saying I had to give my bonus daughter money because I was married to him. Then bonus daughter sent my husband a message stating she was entitled to my inheritance money since I always called her daughter, and it was my fault the additional weekly money had to stop. At this point, my husband just left her messages unread and informed me of what was going on. As I was processing all of this, I became livid. I told my husband that I was planning on sharing some money as a graduation present, but now I don't feel like it. Why should I share this inheritance with someone who completely pushed him out of their life because my tragic event hurt us financially, only temporarily? So, am I the a-hole for not wanting to share my inheritance with my bonus daughter? Now for the top comments. Info. Why didn't she spend 50% of the time with him and you guys, as his custody agreement said? Her mom is very vindictive and would always threaten my husband with taking him to court or calling the cops on him if he didn't do what she wanted. My husband is a very chill person. He avoids conflicts and just wants to do what is best for his daughter. That's a terrible excuse. Capitulating to his ex is not what's best for his daughter. Exercising his 50% custody time would have been what's best so that he could maintain an actual relationship with her instead of seeing her twice every other year and essentially only showing up for her as a human ATM instead of a father. Sounds to me like he took the cowardly and lazy way out and wasn't willing to stand up to his ex and fight to stay in his daughter's life if it ever became necessary. Forget about your stepdaughter, and for that matter, your children too. Why are you looking to give this money away? You just said you guys recently had financial issues, so that leads me to believe you're not a distant relative of the Rockefellers and rolling in cash. How about you think of yourself first? Do you have a year's emergency fund already set aside? Do you have so much money set aside for retirement that you can afford to piss this money away? If you've answered yes to the last two questions, then by all means, shower your family with cash. If, however, you are not completely financially set, you would be an absolute fool to give this money to anyone or spend it on anything you don't absolutely need. So true, that other daughter and frankly your own children might not be in a situation to help you when you need help as you get to be 80 and 85. Set up funds for yourself and create a trust fund, leaving the money to the people that have been there while you are suffering. I'm assuming that the bonus daughter did not visit or send you flowers or candy or call you with concerns. Not the a-hole. She's not entitled to anything. It's your money, and you don't have to share it with anyone. Your husband needs to realize he was only ever looked at as a cash machine. His ex raised her to only care about money. I think he needs to tell her it's time she grows up and realizes family relationships are more important than money, and that she's cut off now that she's an adult. She'll learn when she matures what went wrong. I'm sure when she has her own children, she'll realize the way her mother raised her was wrong. Sorry you're going through this. Hopefully it passes quickly. Next story. My extended family think I'm a monster for going no contact with my parents. Am I the a-hole? I'm 18 male, my parents' only biological kid. They wanted more, but they couldn't have more. So when I was 6, they decided they were going to foster kids, with the hope that some would become eligible for adoption in the future. All they told me initially was that I would have a bunch of other kids to play with, so I thought that sounded really great. But then they really pressured me to say I wanted them to foster and that I was on board no matter what. The change happened because they were assigned a caseworker or social worker. Not sure of the difference really. and I would be interviewed alongside them. Something I learned a few years ago is that most people who sign up to foster will say if there are certain needs they can't meet, so kids can have better placements. My parents were open to any and all kids, even with all kinds of behavioral issues if needed. So not once did they think of me. Because my parents were open to any kids, we sometimes had really traumatized kids who were violent, or some who were so angry at the world that they were violent. I was attacked a lot. I had kids punch and kick me, bite me, put me in chokeholds, burn me, and all kinds of things. My parents refused to get me a lock for my door, and when I made a makeshift doorstop, they took that away once they found it. Whenever I spoke negatively about the fostering experience, my parents would tell me if I ruined it for those kids and for them, then I would be a selfish little a-hole. They'd ask if I really thought my life was worse than those kids who had been abused and had it so much worse. They said this even after one of the foster kids lost it and beat me hard enough to leave bruises all over my face and body. It was summer, so they could hide me until the kid was gone. I had to walk on eggshells depending on who was in the house. There were times it wasn't as terrible and the kids were okay, but I struggled to want any of them around because of how crappy the experience as a whole was. And I was talked to every few months by the caseworker, but my parents had me too afraid to speak up. None of the kids they got were ever free for adoption, so they never adopted any of the kids they fostered. None ever stayed forever either. I was relieved, and they knew it. So they would get mad at me every time I was glad to see the kids go home or somewhere else. A couple of times it was suggested that I get therapy by the caseworker, but my parents never took that seriously. Their foster kids got all the therapy they needed, and my parents were so devoted to doing the best for them. But it was like, screw our bio kid and his needs. I think sometimes it was their way of punishing me for being their only. I turned 18 back in March, and I moved out of my parents' house and went to stay with a friend and his family. I was there until a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm in another state waiting for college to start. Since March, I haven't spoken to my parents once, but a few times I spoke to extended family, and they asked why I'm not talking to my parents. I told them I was no contact, and they told me it was disgusting to turn my back on my parents. Some asked me why, and I told them, but then it was like they unilaterally decided that I'm a monster for holding my parents' kindness for other kids against them. I asked why they wanted me to have contact so badly if I'm a monster, and they told me my parents are my parents. Even if they made mistakes, I need to forgive them, and shouldn't be so quick to throw away my family. They even said it's my age, and that everyone young these days is so ready to throw away their whole family over every small thing. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. You were abused and neglected while your parents played saviors to others. That's not kindness. It's performative at best and cruel at worst. You're not a monster for protecting yourself. Going no contact is a valid and often necessary choice. People forget that being a parent means protecting all your kids, not just the ones that make you look good. OP isn't punishing anyone. They're finally choosing peace. Honestly, going no contact sounds like the healthiest thing they could have done. Your parents were bad parents. End of story. You as a child didn't deserve to be hurt. The children doing it didn't deserve to be hurt. Your parents' inability to protect you is the same reason why the foster children were removed from their homes. Just because you share DNA doesn't make you family. It makes you related. Family is who you choose to share your life with. Family is there for you, protects you, understands, supports, and stand by you, even when they don't agree with you. When you find your family, the relatives will be angry, but it won't matter to you anymore. I tried to argue that with my parents once, same reason the kids were removed, and they told me it was evil to compare kids lashing out to kids being abused by their parents or guardians. And then I gave up. I think I'm like mostly there with it not mattering how mad my extended family are, because it's only a small part of me that is like, are they right? The rest of me knows I did the right thing. Child welfare social worker here. Not the a-hole. Go get that therapy now. It's good that you're feeling comfortable with your decisions regarding your family. It'll be better for you to talk it out and be heard. You're just now getting away from the abuse and neglect. There's a lot of mental and emotional healing you deserve. Best wishes. I'm hoping I'll have access soon. Right now, I could not afford therapy on my own, but I know colleges usually offer some kind of therapy service. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to talk to my parents and brother after they defended sister-in-law leaving a soiled diaper and turd on my bed and taking stuff out of my mini fridge? Me, 19 female, and my sister-in-law, 31 female, do not get along. I met her 3 years ago for the first time after my brother, 31 male, introduced us. He said she was just nervous, but she was fine with the rest of our family. It was just me she was being hostile to. I was excited to meet her because I love my brother and we were close, but the first impression never got better and we'd fight whenever we were around each other. She was extremely vocal about my decision not to attend college and go a different path, and she was incredibly negative about it. Then she said it was no surprise, since it was me, and she bet I made that decision because no college wanted me. I told her they clearly wanted people with issues, since she went to college. When she and my brother got married, she told him that if I was his best person, I needed to wear a suit like the rest of his groomsmen and not the dress I had already paid for. Then she commented about how, guy-like, I looked at the wedding wearing a suit with the men. In return, I only congratulated my brother and ignored her. Even when she talked to me later, I ignored her. I told my brother after the wedding that I loved him, but would not be around her much because clearly we could not get along. So I avoided her and skipped events when she'd be around. That wasn't fully possible 7 weeks ago when she and my brother were visiting with my baby nephew. But I did stay mostly in my room when I finished work. And I didn't eat with the family, which my parents protested a lot. I stocked my mini fridge every few days, or at least I planned to. 4 days into their visit, I basically went no contact with my whole family, which is the point of my post. I had a day off work. My parents and brother went out for the day. Sister-in-law was home with the baby. I didn't want to be in the house alone with her, so I went out to avoid any awkwardness or conflict. But when I got home, there was a dirty diaper on my bed that had leaked and left stains on my bed covers. My mini fridge had been left open too, and food was missing from it. I went and confronted sister-in-law and threw the diaper at her. My parents came back as we were fighting, and they told me to calm down and stop making things worse. I asked them if they'd like to come home to find that and for her not to clean it up. They said it was a simple cleanup job, and I didn't need to react like that. I asked if I should pick it up and take it to their bed. They got mad and said I was over the top. Sister-in-law was laughing and made an excuse that she forgot to clean it up, and it had only been a few hours. Then I mentioned the food, and she said she got hungry and the baby was fussing. My parents said I could just join them for dinner. We were still fighting when my brother got home, and he said it wasn't worth the fight, and that I should understand sister-in-law is a new mom, and mom brain is a thing. Sister-in-law was loving it, and told them I had thrown the diaper right at her face. They asked me why I'd do something so disgusting and said I should apologize. That's when I told them all to F off and said good luck cleaning up the because I was out. I cleaned myself up a little, grabbed all my important stuff, and went to my grandparents' house. They picked me up a few blocks away. I can't drive due to a medical condition. They were disgusted and told my parents and brother how ashamed they were of them for siding with sister-in-law. That pissed sister-in-law off, and she told them to remember who gave them a great-grandchild. After about a week, my parents and brother reached out, but I refused to answer their calls. I ignored their texts where they asked if we could talk. I ignored their suggestion that we all sit down and hash it out and figure out a way to move on. I've had zero contact since. I refused to talk to them, and my grandparents have expressed this. They had to listen to my parents say I was behaving like a teenager, running away like this, and that I'll be 20 soon and need to talk to them before my birthday. One text even said that my hate for sister-in-law will cost me a relationship with my nephew as well as with my brother, and that I don't want that. Am I the a-hole? Your sister-in-law is an a-hole. She did that on purpose. If you agree to sit down with them, ask her why she hates you. Why is she so insecure? Why does she feel the need to grind you down? Does she get a perverse kick out of upsetting you? I know you're thinking about your relationship to your bro and nephew, but if your bro isn't standing up for you now, it's pretty clear she's going to poison the two of them against you. I feel like she already has. We used to be close, and until recently, I would have said we would be even if she hated me. But he defended her and so did our parents. And then to only get annoyed at what I did, when there's a reason I had a soiled diaper in the first place, it's made me feel different about all of them. Your parents and your brother are wrong, in every level. I'm glad you left. I don't want you to miss out on that relationship, but I actually feel like your brother doesn't actually care enough to stand up for you, actually for what is right. That behavior is appalling, and mom brain has nothing to do with someone just being an a-hole. Take your time, and when or if you decide you are ready, do it in your terms, and remember to keep your boundaries. And if they try saying you are wrong, continue with no or low contact. You were wrong in no way. I just wished you'd rub the diaper in her face instead of throwing it at her. Told her to eat that if she was hungry. Sorry, but I desire people that behave this way. Trust me, it's something I wish I had done too. Maybe they all needed to experience it since it's no big deal. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law is a disgusting piece of trash. Move in to your grandparents and don't speak to them at all unless they have a massive apology waiting. My grandparents are good with me living here. I'm already officially moved in, but I don't think an apology that takes this long would fix things.